Oh no, Evie was not in her dorm room. Not at all.
Hey! Over here! Evangeline! Hey. How are things, kid?
Papa! Papa! But it can't be! You're alive?
Oh, of course I am, darling. But you have to find a way.
That was not her father, of course.
You must reach Nakotas.
Have I crossed another one of those portals? Good Lord, none of this makes any sense. This is weird. Really weird.
Vol.4 Nakotas.
Drinking Motors? Dad and Uncle Mo's motor shop in Benoit?
Moses, we're running out of money. If we don't get some... I've got a daughter to provide for.
You're a whiz, mister. Would you be interested by an...
Papa? Papa, don't do it! Don't go to San Francisco, please! Hey, what just happened?
It'll only be a few days, Jitterbug. I'll be back before you can say Jack Robinson.
Drayton is dead, but it doesn't matter. His death brings me closer to an answer. I'll do whatever it takes. The only thing that matters is Nora's life.
Wait, no. That doesn't sound like the professor at all.
Evie realized Bowen's lies were seeping into her thoughts.
feel.
Not good. But that doesn't matter anymore, Mr. Harry. Just listen to me. Get off this cursed island. You'll find nothing here but death. Go back home. Spend what time you've got left with your wife. And there's another thing I want to ask of you.
Where am I now? Who are you?
Salve Cornathun Nakotas.
The great engineer?
Salve Cornathun Nakotas.
Incredible. Did you hear that? We were right. We finally found the coordinates. At last we know where Nakotas lies. Thanks for your cooperation, Miss Drayton.
About an hour after Evangeline had her otherworldly vision,
Finally, I'm inside.
Harry snuck into the same building where she was being kept captive.
Miss Drayton? Are you there? What on earth?
Harry had always suspected that the starry wisdom was something far more sinister than a simple astronomical society. And as soon as he stepped into their inner sanctum, his worst fears were confirmed.
Egyptian hieroglyphs? Apparently, the only way to get into the These people are out of their minds, no doubt about it. And they clearly have a pathological obsession with Egypt. I believe my psychiatrist had... a tetrahedron. Only those who have been enlightened know the divine geometry of the tetrahedron, which grants access to the gates of knowledge. What's this load of baloney? None of these doors have handles. How am I supposed to open them? Stellae Sapientis, the Starry Wisdom Society, Providence. This elevator doesn't seem to have a call button. I don't know what to do with it. A statue of Horus. Bastet, goddess of protection in Anubis. Egyptian, that is Sobek. God of fertility and life and Lord of the Nile. Egyptian hieroglyphs? Egyptian hieroglyphs? A statue? Only those who have been enlightened know the divine geometry of the tetrahedron, which grants access to the gates of knowledge. What's this load of baloney? There's a pyramid in the center of this chamber. I wonder... Certain sections of this pyramid seem to move.
For a moment, Harry wondered whether it was a good idea to mess with the mechanism, but he quickly dismissed the thought. Even if it meant alerting someone, he had to find Evangeline and get out of there.
Yes, the doors to the upper rooms are open. This looks like an astronomer's office. This book seems to recount traditions of ancient Egypt. Heaven's sake, these kooks really are obsessed. Different constellations. It would take a good eye to locate all of them in the night sky. So these freaks have masks, code names, and hieroglyphs assigned to each of them. An archaeologist's office for sure. There's something written in German in these pages.
Although Harry's German was a bit rusty, he understood what it meant. The letter laid bare the bad blood between some of the cult members, something pretty common when power-hungry fanatics are involved.
Looks like a device to make prints from photographic trays with various chemical substances. They even have the molecular structures written on the bottles. This guy has been all over the world. This must be the group's official photographer. This must be the group's... This office looks expensive. Must belong to some sort of dilettante. You have to be some kind of narcissist to snap a pic of yourself. This... October 29th. This fella clearly has expensive tastes. I'm impressed. Just an office. But this metronome still makes my skin... He sounds glad to be rid of him. This metronome still makes my skin crawl.
Pharaoh already announced the ritual positions. I'll have to be next to Orion nearly all year.
Harry immediately recognized the voice of Dr. Frog in the Throat.
I've always despised... Pharaoh already...
Drat. This is my prescription. From Dr. Frog in the Throat. $19.55. So, a roll of film. I wonder what's on. This looks like a biologist's office. They rotated the positions. What does that mean? I'm sure I could name all the fish in this aquarium.
Much to his dismay, Harry had become something of an expert on fish, especially those with striking spotted patterns.
The shelf is packed with every kind of specimen. Looks like it came straight out of Dr. Frankenstein's lab. Drat, I messed it up. I should start again. Trays with various chemical substances. They even have the molecular structures written on the bottles. Drat, trays with various chemical substances. They even have the molecular structures written on the bottles. Good. I've developed the trays with various chemical substances. They even have the molecular structures written on the bottles. Good. This guy has been all over the world. Different constellations. It would take a good eye to locate all of them in the night sky. nonsense are they talking about now? This metronome still makes my skin crawl. Hanging your college diploma on the wall while you're in some sort of weird cult doesn't strike me as the smartest idea. This shelf is packed with every kind of specimen. Looks like it came straight out of Dr. Frankenstein's lab. Stellae Sapientis, the Starry Wisdom Society, Providence. Egyptian hieroglyphs? Damn it didn't work. I need to go over it again. That elevator. It must be the access to... of it.
As he rode the elevator up, Harry regretted not bringing a weapon. What if Bowen was still up there?
All right. Let's see what you're hiding here, you scoundrel. Well, looks like they give this medal to just about anyone. Consciousness exchange? Is he talking about... Apparently that John Teague was Fornax, another cult member. Spitsbergen. That doesn't sound good at all. And what's this? This creature seems vaguely familiar.
Evangeline had to be on the other side of that door, no doubt about it. But Harry stopped before entering. Was there anything left for him to find in Caleb Bowen's office?
There may be something important here. I can come back later. Dr. West?
Evangeline had to be on the other side of that door, no doubt about it. But Harry stopped before entering. Was there anything left for him to find in Caleb Bowen's office?
Please be all right, Evangeline. Let's go, Miss Drayton. We have to get out of here.
Look, it's the engineer. I've seen one of those creatures before. In my dreams. In the Stone City, in the jungle. He spoke to me in my dreams, Professor. I have
Forget about it, Miss Drayton. We'd have to call the police and...
Calling the police won't do any good, Professor. We have to go to Spitzbergen. I need to talk with him, with the great engineer.
Miss Drayton, don't you realize this doesn't make any sense? We can't chase Bowen and his...
No, you don't understand. Bowen isn't in Spitzbergen. He's on his way to the city, on his way to Nakotis.
Harry couldn't believe what he had just heard. Evangeline had mentioned a place he had known in dreams, long ago. So long ago, he had nearly forgotten it.
I had a strange dream today. I was inside a vast library and gazed at vistas of another world.
All these questions came crashing down on Harry. And suddenly, he wasn't so convinced anymore. Before boarding the plane to Norway, Evie and Harry talked about the trip. About where they'd be stopping over. About what they'd do once they got to Spitzbergen. They talked about bringing plenty of warm clothing and gear and supplies to make it through. They talked about getting their documents and passports in order. They even talked about the strange city they had both dreamt of. But Evie knew there was something they hadn't talked about. A question she didn't know how to ask the professor, because every time she'd tried, the right words never came out. But a long flight leaves plenty of time to think.
Professor?
Yes?
When I was being held by that man, Bowen, he showed me a picture of you. A picture of you and my father in the Pacific. Did you know my father, Professor?
And then, it was Harry who didn't know how to find the right words. Because even though he'd been waiting years for that question, he still didn't know how to answer it. Evie took Harry's silence as a yes.
Bowen said, my father died because of you. Is that true, Professor?
Well, it's complicated. Look, I wanted to.
You wanted what? Just talk, for God's sake.
All right. I'll explain everything.
Good. We've got plenty of time to spare before we land.
My wife, Nora, was diagnosed with an incurable disease. The same hereditary illness of unknown origin that had struck her mother before her. The doctors had no answer. So I decided to find it myself. I never imagined the answer would take me so far away. To a remote island in the Pacific. Back then, I didn't have the financial independence I have now. So I had to raise money and put a team together. Do you remember the night before your father left for work in San Francisco? You were probably 5 or 6 years old?
Oh, God. Yes, I remember. I remember a beautiful, dark-haired woman, a nervous, scrawny guy, and a man who seemed really happy about something.
I'll never forget those words. You're a whiz, mister. Would you be interested, by any chance, in an exciting job opportunity in the Pacific? That's right. Frank agreed to come with us to the island. It pained him to leave you and your mother back in Mississippi, but he needed the money and I was paying very well. But that island wasn't what we expected. There was something there that... Let's just say there are forces in this world that mankind ought not to meddle with, Miss Drayton. Things like the Black Ooze, and on that island, it was everywhere. I told you, it's the most dangerous substance I've ever come across. We found that out when one of the expedition members came into contact with it. It was him, driven mad, who attacked your father. Just a shallow cut with an ancient dagger, but enough to infect him with that black liquid. That is what took Frank's life. I did what I could to look after him, but that infection, it was beyond anything I could handle. His final words still haunt me. Harry, please look after my wife and my little girl. And that's what I've been trying to do all these years. Though evidently not as well as I might have done.
Evie was speechless. She could not believe it.
Take care of me? What are you talking about? I just met you a week ago. I've never had anyone except my mother. And the only help we ever got was from the insurance checks. What kind of help are you—
There was no insurance, Evangeline.
What?
Harry decided that since he'd started telling the truth, he wouldn't stop halfway.
I am the Hydrangea Foundation. Hydrangeas were just Nora's favorite flowers, that's all.
And then Evie understood. She understood the strange and painful sacrifice that man had made.
I wasn't the one who drove that dagger into your father, but I dragged him to that island and didn't listen when he told me we had to leave.
Harry had spent a long time avoiding the truth of what had happened nearly 30 years before, on that island in the Pacific. But for the first time in ages,
I won't be so foolish as to ask for your forgiveness. I know I have no right to it. I understand how you must feel now. I understand that you...
Maybe you have no right to ask for it, but...
in a strange way, Evie's forgiveness made him feel uncomfortable. Didn't he deserve punishment?
Maybe you're right.
I'm sure I am. Believe me.
And after that, Evie and Harry remained silent for the rest of the flight. Despite having talked about it, Evangeline and Harry were not prepared for the freezing cold they would face on that remote Norwegian island. Although weather would be the least of their problems in that place.